Welcome to this episode, everyone. Please hit the like and subscribe. I do really appreciate that. The case I want to talk about in this episode is the strange unsolved murder of Alistair Wilson, a banker in the seaside tourist town of Nairn, which is to the east of Inverness in the north of Scotland. Alistair, then 30, husband to Veronica and a dad of 2 young boys. He was gunned down on his doorstep, and the perpetrator has never been arrested in over 20 years. It became known as the Doorstep murder. Nairn is such a sleepy, totally safe town, and that's why this cold-blooded murder was all the more shocking. Well-known criminologists have long investigated this case, like retired undercover Scotland Yard detective turned TV presenter Peter Bleksley. And when I say undercover, I am talking about infiltrating the really, really bad guys by posing as, say, an international drug baron or even as a contract killer. And I'll go back to Peter in a bit, because in my opinion, it's really he who has kept the unsolved murder of Alistair in the public eye after all these years. But let's start with what happened on the 28th of November 2004 at the Wilson family home at 10 Crescent Road. At the time of the murder, Alistair had quit his job as a banker to take on a new position in Inverness. He was gunned down on his steps of his home in Crescent Road, Nairn, on November 28, 2004, while his wife and 2 young sons were indoors. A gunman dressed all in black, wearing a black cap, called at the Wilson family home, and Veronica answered the door. The man asked for Alistair by name, and Veronica went to fetch her husband, who was bathing their children. The gunman then handed a blue birthday card-style envelope to Alistair with the name Paul written on it, which Alistair took upstairs to show Veronica. Alistair then returned to the front door with the envelope, at which point he was shot and sadly died a short time later. No sign of the blue Paul envelope was found by police when crime scene officers arrived. Police later searched nearby drains and found a handgun. It was an old, almost antique handgun. They released images of this weapon in relation to their inquiries, and since then, no leads have as yet led to an arrest. In 2025, the Lord Advocate in Scotland announced a complete reinvestigation of Alistair's killing. I want to bring in Peter Bleksley now. On the 20th anniversary of the killing, he said he'd been speaking with someone who has been sitting on a secret about the case for the last 20 years. Peter Bleksley, retired Scotland Yard detective, author of To Catch a Killer and many other books, including his autobiography, The Gangbuster, playwright for BBC Radio 4 and Channel 4's The Hunted. What does he have to say about the Alistair Wilson murder, and why won't he leave this case alone until it is solved?
It's a bit speculative. These trips always are. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. And I will say that within just a matter of minutes of being here, I was contacted by somebody who said they've been sitting on a secret for 20 years and they'd like to meet me this week and tell me that. So, who knows? I was gripped by this crime when I first came here all those years ago. I thought it could and should be solved. I believe that more than ever now, and on a personal level, the fact that Alistair and Veronica's boys were about the same age as mine and my wife's 2 boys really struck home. I have so much upset for Alistair because in the last 20 years I've enjoyed my 2 boys. I've had so much fun and pleasure watching them grow into fine young men. Alistair was denied all of that, absolutely taken from him. And the fact that the family have not had any justice, the person responsible for pulling that trigger has not been found and put in front of a court of law is utterly outrageous. That's why I'm passionate about it. That's why I won't stop. And that's why this will not be my last trip to Nairn. That I can guarantee.
Peter Bleksley there. I'm going to try and grab an interview with Peter in the next couple of months, but he is on tour at the moment. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you in the next one.